Hey, this is Tracy Lewis with Stuff and Things. Today is a Fun Fold Friday episode. I have a card that I actually just made. We are staying at the Great Outdoors in Titusville, Florida. And this is a community that has RV lots, a lot of them. 2,000, I think. There are some stick homes with ports and even some stick homes that do not have room for an RV. But it is centered on an RV community. And there are activities like you wouldn't believe. So I signed up to go to the Stampin' Up card making. You get 3 cards for $10, and it's every other, well, the second and fourth Friday of the month. So one of the cards was perfect for today. It is a card fun fold that I've made before. It is scored at 2 inches 3 times, so it's 2 inches, 1 1/8, 2 inches, 1 1/8, 2 inches. And your folds, when you do your scoring, you want to score the 2 end inches flipped with the mountain going down, and then you flip it and do the inner 1 1/8 with the opposite. And then you fold it, and then in this case the front is the flat part. It's like it's a plateau, for lack of a better term. And I had it together, but knew when I got home I already had the paper, which is called You're a Peach DSP, and it uses sentiments from Biggest Wish, and the dies are pierced blooms. And the piece that I used to do the top layer had options. I will show you what the pattern side, so this was the pattern side, and I wasn't fond of the dots being offset to one way or the other. Neither way really worked for me. So I flipped it over and I made it using the peaches. So it is, I'm going to tack it back on so you can see the way it was originally done before I left. I really like this. It, though a lot of die cutting, it has a nice fancy look to it without being fancy. And then it has these little sprinkle 3D elements on the small blue flowers. And I am going to add a little white bow to the front while we're talking. So I asked, because the first thing I noticed, now we've been in Florida since August 4th, and I have been doing a lot of crafting. It has been very hot and humid, and have had rain here and there. Nothing too terrible, I don't think, as far as what Floridians might be used to. I think we've had a pretty mild hurricane season. Knock on wood, hopefully there's nothing coming and I haven't jinxed us all. And so I noticed that all of the supplies are provided in these classes, which is really nice. Though I did bring my crop bag. So while we've been talking, I just went ahead and made a bow, which I will tack on here somewhere cute. And I asked about the fact that there was liquid glue only and no tape runner. And about 3 years ago, they made the determination that the tape runner just isn't sticky enough for the humidity here, and they switched to all glues. So make note of that if you either are in the South and you have struggled with your layers coming apart, or if you've been using glue and you don't know why. That is why whoever trained you, they probably came from a humid locale, because in Washington State we don't have to worry about using glue. We don't have to deal with humidity very often at all. So that was a good thing to learn. And I am now going to tack this fun bow on. Oops. I'm using a glue dot that I have rolled up. So we'll have that hanging off, and then I will, since this is just tacked together, I did cut a piece of what I really wanted on here. It is ready to go. So it is going to be looking like this, which is what I had in mind all along. Now I tore a little bit, but I don't think anybody will see it because the sentiment layer is going to cover it. So if you notice that little tear, yes, when I was taking it apart, it did tear on me. And I have not actually switched to using a glue. I'm still using tape runner. But now that I know that's an issue, if I have any problems over time with my cards coming apart, I will know that the solution is to use glue. Alright, so now I made sure that when I cut this, the edge of the 6x6, I had already chopped this into 6x6s because I store all of my DSP in 4x6 or 6x6. So this was the left edge, and I like the uniformity of this. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I just didn't want a very wide piece of, or chunk of orange on one side, like the piece that was provided. And I'm, you know, the demonstrators, when they are cutting these pieces, you know, they made card making supplies for over 20 people, so I can't complain that they need to like carefully make sure that everybody gets the perfect piece cuts, because that just isn't feasible, and I understand that. I have to move this up a tad. So we are enjoying our time here in the great outdoors, which we are staying at because we believe we would like to buy property here to be our home base on the East Coast. And we have already determined that we do want to do that. It has exceeded all of our expectations by far. So I have a couple of photos. I will there was a photo at the very beginning that showed a path, and I wanted you to see that that was my commute this morning to drive to the class. There is a golf cart path that goes along the length of one side of the park, and we happen to be along that side, about 10 minutes away from where the class is, and all I have to do is drive the golf cart a short ways and pop through the library, a little building that has a path, back to that sandy path that you saw with the beautiful palm trees, and it's a straight line with a couple of curves, and I drove all the way to the class and back from the class on that beautiful drive. So it doesn't get any better than that, for me anyway. So let's put the top on. And I think that the solid with the dots goes much better. And that is the finished product. I will have all of the supplies that I've talked about today listed. I don't have the glue listed, but again, gluing in a high humidity area has been recommended to me, and Stampin' Up sells, I use mono glue, liquid glue, and you put down little tiny dots. I have demonstrated that a few times, and then you can do lines and squiggles, but I am more used to using the adhesive tape runner because you can, like you saw me peel up this top panel, and I'm used to having that little ability to fix mistakes, and once you use glue, it's definitely a little bit more permanent, so I'm not ready to make the switch to glue quite yet. Anyhow, so leave your questions, comments, or suggestions here on the video or over on my blog. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.